Well, welcome viewers. We're looking at the new book, The Breaking the Pattern, A Structured Path to Peace, by myself, Dr. J.W. Ayub. The picture reflects cutting off the head of a snake. Sorry, I just got to fix this up. I should have looked at this before I started, but I didn't. Anyway, that's as good as that's going to get. So I wrote the book to name what breaks people and to map a way out of that breakage. Breaking the pattern is about disrupting cycles of trauma, addiction and dysfunction with structure, truth, boundaries and discipline. This YouTube series, which I've decided to do, is the living version of the book. Short sessions, clear steps, real application, so you can stop surviving and start rebuilding. Now, I wrote this book to name what breaks people, some of the things that break people, and to map a way out. Now, if you can't name the pattern, you can't break it. Silence protects dysfunction. Clarity is the first active recovery. And this book exists to put language around what many people feel but can't explain. Then turn that clarity into a pathway forward. So if we reflect on what I just said, what pattern in my life or in your life have I avoided naming because naming it would require change? And let me give you a proverb. The first step out of a trap is to admit you're in one. Sorry, viewers. The first step out of a trap is to admit you're in one. So breaking the pattern is about disrupting cycles with structure, truth, boundary, and discipline. Freedom isn't a mood, it's a system. Structure stabilizes the nervous system. Truth stops self-deception. Boundaries stop leakage. And discipline turns good intentions into repeatable actions. These are not harsh tools, they're protective tools. And if we reflect on that, which one do I resist most? Which one do you resist most? Structure, truth, boundaries, or discipline? And what has that resistance cost you? Proverb. What you don't organize, you will eventually lose. And this YouTube series is the living version. Short sessions, clear steps, real application. So information alone doesn't change people. Practice does. The series is designed to slow the material down and make it usable. Not inspirational for 5 minutes, but practical for the week ahead. Small steps. Tone consistently and done consistently to rebuild your life. And let's reflect. What is the one small action you can take this week that proves you're serious about change? Little by little, a path is made. Now, that's an introduction into what's going on, and this, viewers, is the first lesson on breaking the pattern. What this series is and who it's for. This series is for people who are tired of surviving on autopilot. You're not broken, you're trained. We're going to name the patterns, we're going to interrupt them, and we're going to build peace as a structure, not a mood, a structure. Now, you're not broken, you're trained. Remove shame without letting people hide. I'm going to say that again. Remove shame without letting people hide. Training can be updated. And if we reflect on that, what behavior do you call just who I am? That is actually survival training, saying it's just who I am. So let me challenge you. Write, under stress, I become. What do you become under stress? Proverb. As the twig is bent, so grows the tree. As the twig is bent, so grows the tree. And you can apply that to yourself. A pattern is tone, tension, silence, roles, coping, and belief. A pattern is tone, tension, silence, roles, coping, and beliefs. Define each one line so you guys can recognize them yourselves fast. Pattern is tone, tension, silence, roles, coping, and beliefs. Define in your mind each in one line so that you can recognize what happens to you in tone, tension, silence, roles, coping, and beliefs. Which one hits you hardest and why? Choose one and track it for 7 days. Is it tone, tension, silence? A lot of women suffer terrible punishment from men, their husbands, when they go silent. That's just one example. Roles that you play, how you cope, and beliefs that you have. Choose one and track it for 7 days. Name it to tame it. Name it to tame it. Now this series names it, interrupts it, and then builds peace as a structure once the interruption starts. Now it's not motivation. This is not pure motivation. It's practice and repetition. The motivation will hold you for a certain period of time and then deplete. But practice and repetition is something you need to apply on a regular basis. It creates discipline, and discipline helps you to grow. Which step do you avoid most? Naming, interrupting, or building structure? Which step do you avoid most? Naming, interrupting, or building structure? Here's a challenge. Write, this week I will practice. This week I will practice naming, interrupting, or building structure. And once you start that practice, it's going to begin a journey of 1,000 miles, because a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step, and I'm sure you've heard that proverb. And then the book helps you to apply one action per week. Apply one action per week. Binge self-help is often avoidance. I'm going to say that again. It's like binge drinking. Binge self-help is often avoidance. You're avoiding something. But evidence changes the body of the problem. And when you apply that evidence by naming, interrupting, or building structure, then that begins to change the body of the problem. It begins to weaken the problem. So let me ask you this. Do you collect insights or build evidence? Because insights are good, but building evidence is empowering at a different level, at a higher level. So let me challenge you. Pick one action and repeat it at least 4 times this week, which isn't hard. Pick an action and repeat it at least 4 times this week, and it could be naming, it could be interrupting. I'm going to interrupt it. I can see this is making me react. Or build structure. Now I can see what I need to build for myself in a disciplined way by practice and repetition to help myself to grow. And remember this proverb: little and often fills the basket. Little and often fills the basket. So here's the conclusion on today's message, viewers. Insight is not transformation. Repetition is. If you want a different life, stop collecting ideas and start building evidence. One action repeated is how the nervous system updates. Peace is built where the old pattern can't breathe. Say that with me in closing. Peace is built where the old pattern can't breathe. Now, if you want a copy of this book with the study outline, it is available. I will put that in the description and a way in which you can contact me. And I thank you for joining me. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, do subscribe and like if you liked it. Otherwise, that's okay. Come back and for the next lesson, which will be episode number 1, Inheritance Before Choice. I'm Dr. J.W. Ayub. Thank you for joining me, and bye for now.